Hello book besties and welcome back to my channel. Today it's time for another wrap up, and this is the last wrap up for last year, so the last one of 2025, well, for 2025 should we say. Grab yourself a drink. I've got a water today. I'm actually, your girl is being healthy, trying to start off the new year right, trying to drink more water. I'm actually really thirsty as well. I'm Tia if you are new here, and if you're not, then welcome back to my channel. We are going to do a reading wrap up. I actually don't know how many books I read this month. Let me just have a little quick count how many we read and how many we DNF'd. I think we might have read 27 books and DNF'd 3, if my calculations are correct. I will check again at the end, but anyway, let's just dive straight in. So the first one we did was Bradford's Innocent Obsession by Evie Rose. So this was actually a audiobook ARC or ALC that I got. And this follows Taylor, who is a ballerina who has been trafficked from, I think she was 14, I want to say. And now it's like 5 years or something later. So I believe she's sort of around 19, 20 now. And then we have Con, who is a mafia boss, and he's been tasked by her sisters to basically get her out of there. But what he wasn't expecting was to become completely and utterly obsessed with her by first glance. Like, this is very, very insta-lovey. And I will say, it kind of worked. It didn't make sense, but it kind of worked. I just enjoyed how pathetically obsessed he was with her. This was, I rated 3-star because I feel like it was very, very fast paced. Did have fun with it, and Con literally gave her like everything that Taylor wanted, like just from little snippets of conversations they had. So she was talking about like books, and he built like a whole library in the house, and it was just perfection. It was an easy, enjoyable read, but because it was a short novella, I would have liked a bit more chemistry and a bit more yearning. I feel like sometimes with novellas, and especially insta love, that can fall like just that little bit flat. Then we had Love Me Stalk Me by Laura Bishop, which was again another ARC. This one I rated 3-star again. I think if you want like a comedic dark romance, this is definitely for you. Like if you're thinking lights out vibe type wavelength. So Izzy is a store manager almost for like personal shoppers of like high-end store, and she has to work with the new head of security, Callahan, to tighten up their security really, and so that when Christmas time comes they don't have like a lot of shoppers, because they believe that there's like an organised crime situation happening where people are going in and organising obviously these shoplifting and thieving events. Her boyfriend is basically a piece of shit, and her best friend persuades her to download this AI app, and without knowing, she sort of makes her AI boyfriend look like this new head of security. This head of security is also like a grey hacker. He is instantly obsessed with her, so he decides to hack into that, and he is the AI app. Obviously she doesn't know that. I would have liked a bit more chemistry between the two, I think. Obviously the first time he meets her, he's obsessed with her, and then he starts hacking into her, like finding out where she is, hacking into her phone. Like, yeah, it was obviously like, again, very insta-lovey. But in also saying that, like, both characters were very easy to root for. This did take me a little bit longer to get through than what I would have liked, but you win some, you lose some. We then had Oops Baby for the Mafia Boss, what it's called, yeah, by Evie Rose, which was again another ALC, so I got this one on audio. This was another 3-star. It was a fun little audiobook. It was a novella as well, like I said. So this follows Markov, who is our mafia boss, and Emily, who is the secretary of the company that basically Markov owns. They bond over a fantasy book, so she's listening to her audiobook out loud while she does her work. She's like filing and stuff, and he comes in and it's at like a spicy scene, and she goes to turn it off, and he's like basically not says because he doesn't really speak at all. No, he doesn't speak to her at all actually until later in the book, but he basically plays it and wants it to play out loud. So, and then every day he ends up coming in, they listen to the audiobook together, and then he leaves, and that's it. It's very one-sided. She talks to him, he doesn't talk to her, and they always get interrupted by her mum ringing her as well. And then I don't even know what happens, baby. Basically one day he decides he is redhead, and he decides he's gonna do with her, and then obviously he leaves. He doesn't say anything because he doesn't really speak. He can speak, but he doesn't speak. And that same day, her boss, who's like under him, but it's her like immediate boss, fires her. And it's like a very cash in hand job, so he doesn't know where she's gone. Markov's like looking everywhere for her, and it goes from there. And when he does speak, it's very like one-worded, and I think it was a cute fun read. I did get a little bit cringed out, because when Markov was speaking to her later in the book, the one worded orders were very like a little bit cringy, but easy, good fun read. I did like the male narrator, so when it was his POV, him like thinking in his head, I did like the male narrator. I do like Evie Rose. I think she does really fun novellas, especially ones that are like on audio. They're just like, yeah, you just know what you're going in for, and if you want like a good filler, then they're very good as well. Then we had Exile by Steph Macon. This is the final book of the Dance with Our Demons series, which follows like a secret society that are in, I want to say like an asylum, but it's not like an asylum, but there's a lot of secrets going on that don't divulge until you go later into the books. It's also a Why Choose. Again, it's the 4th book in the series. You do need to read the other books to be able to understand what's going on. This took me, Fable told me, like 45 days to read. It was on audio because I listened to some, and then I was going to do it in the car, like do the audiobook in the car, but then at the spicy scenes, like, it was very distracting, so I decided not to do that. And then I was prioritising other audiobooks, like the ARC audiobooks. So then I just didn't get around to it for ages. So in that time, I just didn't read it for a long time. And then eventually I went back into it. This was 5 stars as well, guys. I don't think I said that. But this is a perfect ending to the series. And you just get to see all the characters heal in their own ways. And I do think like you definitely need to do the audiobooks for this to make the story, like, in my opinion. I am sad to see like the series end, but give it up to Steph. Like, she writes the best 4-way scenes, like immaculate. Then we continued our Windy City series with The Right Move by Liz Tomforde. This was a 5-star, guys. Like, I do think, so the first book was 4 stars, I think, but I think the rest of the books are going to be 5-star for me. I love Ryan Shea. Like, he made it onto book boyfriend list as well. Ryan Shea is an acts of service king, like literally, like, oh, perfection. So this follows Ryan Shea, who from the first book is Stevie's twin brother, and it also follows Indy, who is Stevie's best friend, and she basically needs a place to stay and says to Ryan, like, please let her stay. Like, she doesn't have a lot of money, she can't afford this apartment, there's creeps in this one, like, just please let her stay while she finds a fee. He reluctantly agrees, although it's a bit of not an inconvenience to him, because he's like rich and stuff, he don't care, but she's like very messy, he's very immaculately tidy, like wants everything in its own space, and obviously they have to navigate a shared living space together. And then they end up fake dating because of his boss basically wants him to be like cutesy, starting a family, so he says, this is my girlfriend, and then Indy has to go along with it and take it from there, and it's just perfection. It does have some tough topics which did actually hit a little close to home, so I would say read your trigger warnings just in case. Obviously these topics might trigger you, but other than that, this is, yeah, wow. We then had Unravelled by Kay Bromberg. This was a DNF, unfortunately. This was an arc. I'm just trying to think what the book was about. I've just got my Goodreads here. Oh, okay, I remember. So it's a dark erotica novel. It's like a little novella. I think it was like 15% I DNF'd, and it follows this couple who have been married for quite a long time, and they're meant to go away for like a weekend getaway to like get the sparks flying. The husband doesn't end up going, so I think it's like work late minute, and then the FMC finds this, like, I don't know if he's masked man when she meets him or if she can't see his face or whatever, but this stranger basically, and they're sort of like making eyes at each other, and he ends up, I don't know if he ends up like cornering her or something, and he's basically doing stuff to her with like his gloved hands. I had to DNF because it was weird. Like, she was saying no, like, I don't want this, but then it was like, oh, I'm kind of enjoying it, but then it was like, it wasn't even like dubcon, it was like her saying like, I don't want this, but like I can't stop myself. But it's like she was actually saying she didn't want it, and I was like, I'm like a bit questioning. I did read one of the reviews and it like had spoiled what the ending was, and it was like, I don't want to say because I don't want to spoil it, but I just wasn't expecting that to go where it was, and I'm glad I didn't actually finish it because, yeah, I didn't think it wasn't for me. Then we had Dragonbound by Sam Hall, which is a trilogy. This was a 4.5 stars. I really enjoyed this. So I got like the arc omnibus thing, so the first 3 books. I've only read the first one so far, and this was a obviously dragon type fantasy romantasy Why Choose. in which the female is basically becomes bonded to a dragon, and this is all in the by the way, she's betrothed to the prince, who their dragons are meant to mate and basically make the next queen. When she gets in front of the current queen, the queen says basically, your dragon is too small, like I don't like the look of your dragon, whatever. They decide that she's gonna go live out her days in like the riders section. Now the rider section is only men, like there's not a lot of female dragon riders, and if they are, they're like royalty. There's not a lot of females hatch, and when a female does hatch, a lot of like the male dragons are very like attached to them. Anyway, so she ends up going with these 4 dragon riders who brought her to the crown, and they have to teach her how to live basically as a dragon rider, I suppose. I love this. Like, it was a bit of a slow start, but I feel like all romanticies are, because you need to get that world building. But I was invested very, very quickly. It is a little bit of a slow burn as well, I would say. Like I said, it's a dragon fantasy, it's a why I choose as well. In book 1 there's not a lot of like spice, like I said, it's very slow burn, so it's very like towards the end of the book. But I do think we're gonna get a lot more spice in book 2 and 3 because of how the book ended and how it's like set up for it. I genuinely was hooked on the edge of my seat at the same time, like, and I was buddy reading this with my friend Sophie, and she really enjoyed it too. But we both love a why I choose. Prince, I found myself very conflicted to him. Like, he was an absolute a-hole to start with. Like, he was just the worst, and then I felt like I liked him, and then I hated him again, and then I ended up like loving him, I think, at the end. It was a lot of like whiplash. The only thing is the way, or sorry, the amount of times they brought up the FMC's looks. Like, if you look at the cover, the FMC does not look like this. The FMC is portrayed as being very boyish looked. She's very, very tall and she's skinny, but the way it's the amount of times she's portrayed as like tall, skinny, boyish, like very manly looks. At the very beginning she had to shave her hair, so she's got like shaved hair. She looks like a boy from what they say, and a lot of people like depict her as very ugly. I don't really know. I don't know, it just gave me, it's really annoyed me and grated on me a bit, the amount of times they reference back to it. I get that it's like a little bit part of the story, but there's only so many times you need to say it before we understand. Then we had A Science of Shadows by Annie Anderson, which was another DNF unfortunately, and it was like a vampire-y court type book. I actually can't remember why I DNF'd it. There must have been like a reason at the time. I don't know if I wasn't vibing with the writing or I just wasn't in the mood for it. I'm not really sure, but just know that I did. Then we had another arc, so Dirty Little Convict by Samantha Barrett. This is part of the Sinner's Welcome series, which I think are like taboo little novellas, like very, very erotic novellas. Like, they're smart basically. This was 3.5 stars. I actually really enjoyed this. Like, it was, like I said, it was pure smart. Like, it literally had me clutching my pearls. Like, that's how I was like, this is my first time experiencing Samantha Barrett, and it did not disappoint. I have added all of the other books onto my TBR as well, just so you know. It was spicy and pure filth, and honestly, I'm not mad about it. This was a taboo romance, so it follows our FMC, her stepbrother, her stepbrother's boyfriend, and her stepdad. You can see where we're going. There's primal play here. Obviously, it's a why I choose. They're masked men. It's very, very spicy, and yeah, just know that going into it, it's not like, it's not fun, cute romance. Like, it is smart. Then we had The Cowboys of Devil's Ditch, book 1, 2 and 3, which again I got on like an arc. I think they were doing like a re-release or like a cover change. So we had Trig, Colt and Bray, so we'll go through them. So Trig to start with, these are all cowboy romances and premise, obviously this is Cowboys of Devil's Ditch, and also premised as insta loves, by the way, just to like warn you. So Trig was the first one, and this was actually a 4-star. I can happily say I had fun reading this, and the insta love in this actually worked. Like, it wasn't cringy, it was good. This one, the FMC gets not snowed in because she's outside, but her car gets like snowed in on the road, and she ends up trying to walk to this house that she can see far off. Then in comes out MMC with his best friend. It's not why I choose, guys, don't worry. And they are driving up, basically see this empty car, and they're like, why the fuck would someone leave their car there? Keep going, and then they end up finding this lady. Obviously is on foot. She's like basically almost passed out. So he takes her, the house happens to be his house, and he warms her up and stuff, and he's also like, this is the girl, like, this is the girl of my dreams, like, I'm obsessed with her, she's gonna have my babies, she's gonna be my wife. And he kept calling her Sugar, and I loved that. I don't know what it was, I just really enjoyed him. and he's literally got 8 siblings, but they're the cutest and his parents are the cutest, and I love the found family in this too. This is also like an age gap, breeding kink, insta obsession, snowed in, forced proximity, all that jazz. Then we had Colt, which is the second book, which was Trig's brother. This was only a 2.5 star. I just did not enjoy this one as much as the first one. As much as I love like a possessive man, it just didn't grip me. And this one, 6 months prior, they found each other across like the cowboy like arena thing and ended up having a one-night stand. Wires got a bit cross, so there was a bit of miscommunication there, and they ended up not seeing each other again. 6 months later, she ends up working in the hospital of like the place he's gone to find out the death of someone, because he's like the sheriff, and that's where they reconnect from there. The thing is, the story was inconsistent. There was things that they would say earlier in the book that they had forgotten later. So when they reconnected, like in the coroner's office, he said like, my name's Colt Wilder, and then later on the book she was like, I don't even know your name. And I'm like, he told you. He literally told you at the coroner's office when you first met again. And then there was another instance where he had told her like he had 8 siblings, and then later on he like said again, and then she acted shocked as if like he never told her. It was just like little things like that, and it just, I'm not usually like one for plot holes. I can like get past it, but something like that, especially like in a short novella, so like it's very fresh in my brain, I just couldn't get behind it. I think because I wasn't invested in the story as well, I think that's what made it harder. Then we had Bray, which was another 4 star. This was a best friends like brothers romance, and I actually loved this one. So Katie is in a bar, in the bar that she works at, and she's being harassed by this man. So basically she begs Bray to pretend to be her boyfriend to like get this guy off her back. Like she's whispering in his ear, kissing him, grinding in his lap, and he instantly decides at that moment like that she is his. And yeah, it was just, I loved this so much. It did end on a cliffhanger though, which obviously sets you up into the next book of like all the other siblings and guys. But yeah, I really enjoyed this one. Then we had The Libra Legacy by Willow Hollis. It was only a 3 star, so I really enjoyed the first book. The first book was The Gemini Games, and that was like a 4 star for me, I think. And this literally jumped straight in where book 1 left off. So obviously I cannot say too much without spoiling it. We have a new POV in this book. So in the first book we have our whole POV from Zelly, who is the FMC, and then in this one we have her POV as well as her best friend Jada. And I did not like Jada. I don't know what it was. She wasn't a bad person. I just really didn't like Jada. So when we got her point of view for like half the book, I was just like irritated by her. I don't know what it was. She was just, yeah, I didn't gel with her. I just didn't like her. I liked Zelly. I didn't like Jada. The book is very fast paced, so at times it feels like it is a little bit rushed. But I did like the relationship development from Orion and Zelly in this book. But I am upset that the spoiler alert, the love interest from the first book wasn't back being the love interest. I was actually really sad about that. There's going to be another book, so I will be continuing it because I do like the magic system and I do like the side characters, and the next book is going to follow a different side character, so I am intrigued to see what it is. I think it's like the Taurus something is the next one. Then we had Cross the Line by S. Massery, and this was only a 3 star, but I did enjoy it. Like a 3 star is still a good book, guys. It's just not one that I would be thinking about next week. Do you know what I mean? Like once I read it, like I enjoyed it, but that's probably it. So this follows step siblings Cross and Scarlet, who are being not forced to live together, but they're in forced proximity. They're both going to be living in the same house whilst they go to like college. She's come from like another college back home and they're staying together. It was like a very fast-paced fun read though, and obviously I'm partial to step siblings romance, so obviously if you like that then you might like this. And Cross is absolutely determined to make Scarlet's life hell. Like they hate each other, obviously lines start to blur, their chemistry is undeniable, like they have really great chemistry as well. Then we had my babies Joey and Eva in Saving Six in Chloe Walsh. This is the 3rd book of the Boys Are Tommen series. Before I started this, when I was reading Binding 13, so the first book, I wasn't really invested in Joey and Eva, and then when we got to the end of Binding 13, there we go, my brain went absolutely fogged then. I was a little bit more invested in Joey's story. This was a 5 star. Like if you don't know, get to know. This is obviously a very sad, can be triggering book. It's not light-hearted, but the book is really good, but it does depict very dark and heavy topics. I just love Joey and Eva so much. Like this follows their story from when they met when they were like 11 or 12, right up until almost like present time of what we get in the Binding 13 and Keeping 13 series, or like duet. It's a lot more recent, so you've got their whole like time through like 5 or 6 years, something like that. And honestly, I'm actually gonna cry. Joey goes through so much, and if you know, you know, but when Sean called Joey Dada, literally broke my heart. I'm actually feel myself tearing up, because the things that boy goes through, like, it just, honestly, it's heartbreaking. And it just depicts like why he does what he does, why he's the way he is, why he thinks the way that he does. It just all makes sense. I'm honestly like depressed after reading that. And I've wrote down my favourite quote here. Guys, feel so heavy. Because you might not love yourself, but I do. I love you enough for the both of us. God, I'm actually tearing up. Let me take a second. I'm gonna blame it on Mother Nature for making me emotional. Let's move on before I start having a mental breakdown. Then we had Voracious by Lee Rivers. So this is one that I was doing on audio as well. So Teddy Hamilton really just embodies who Kate is. So this is the continuation of Insatiable, so you do need to read that first to be able to read this. I feel numb and I was not okay after this book. I was literally sobbing my heart out. Also, side note, I love Daddy Tobias. Like, oh, this was obviously a 5-star read, guys. It is dark, like very dark, so please check your trigger warnings, because this is not lighthearted at all. And just know, like, the whole book is pure unfiltered pain. And the cliffhanger was absolutely diabolical. And this was, I finished this on December 5th, 14th, and I was starting to make my way through, like, I had read a couple books from my TBR from December, and then after this is when I was like, okay, let's F off the December TBR, because I absolutely need to go straight into book 3, which is Restitution, which was again a 5-star read. And wow, this book made me sob so much. Like, I didn't even have the heart to like write a proper review about it. Like, this definitely finished me rather than me finishing it. Like, you just think like you get a little bit of something and then it just gets ripped away, and then you're so sad again. There's also going to be a spin-off of Luciella, who is Cade's sister, and Base, who is his best friend as well. So there's going to be like a spin-off books of those. I think there's going to be like a duet, which, if you look at those books, like, before I read this book, I was thinking, what the hell is their story going to be about? Like, I know they like each other, but like, what the hell is the story going to be about? Once you read this, like, you have an idea of what their story is going to exactly be, and I cannot wait for them. And I've also got a Psychotic Obsession to read, which is Daddy Tobias's novella, and I cannot wait to read that. We then read The Scars Within by Ange D. Dalton, and also The Darkness Within. So there's going to be another book, but I don't know when it's coming out, because the second one was actually the arc that I received. These were both 3-star. This is like a elemental magic. We have people there that, if you're like a fire elemental, you have the chance to be bonded. Well, I think most fire elementals are, but they're like bonded to dragons. That's the only elemental that is. And obviously you have like water, earth, and air. Are the other ones I had to think then? Yeah, so I was really excited to go into this. With the first book, so it's about like 2 brothers. Going into the first book, I thought it was a wire choose. It's not. Just to pre-warn you, like, it is a love triangle. When I reread the blurb, yeah, I could see that it was going to be a love triangle, and I should have read the blurb a little bit more, but I didn't, and I just thought it was going to be a wire choose from the vibes that we were getting. Now, the only thing is, this is very Fourth Wing heavy inspiration. I think the inspiration was a little bit too heavy. I had a fun time, but for me personally, there were certain things in there that felt a little bit copy and paste from Fourth Wing, which is okay. I know a lot of people love this, and obviously some people didn't, but just know that going into it, like, that you will find similarities there. The second book picks up exactly where the first book ended off, and you also get a little bit of a recap as well as what happened on the first book. Obviously I went in straight after the other, so for me I didn't need it, but obviously if you'd read the first one a little while ago and you want to go to the second one, you do have that little bit of recap. And we also get a second POV. I won't say who the POV is because it will spoil the ending of the book 1, but just know we get that second POV, and everything's sort of tied together. There's a lot of like healing and trauma in this book as well, which I did like the depiction of. But yeah, it was a fun time. Then we had a Reckless, so it was continuing with our TBR, or trying to. Obviously Silver, this is the 4th book in the Chestnut Spring series. This follows Theo Silver. This was a 5-star. Obviously he is on par with Daddy Cade. I love Theo so much. He's the sweetest soul. Like, he's so fucking funny as well, and he's just sweetest. And this follows obviously Thea Silva, who is a bull rider, and Winter, who is Summer's sister from the first book. And as you can see, I tabbed, I wanted it to match. But this is, they have a one night stand. She ends up getting pregnant, and that is on the blurb, by the way, as well, guys. And it was supposed to be like a one-time thing, and it sort of goes from there. This book actually like made me tear up as well at times, but this was perfection. You've got a lot of like healing here, you've got a lot of people that are trying to be better, and yeah, this was just the thing. There is a little bit of miscommunication like towards the third act, but it's very quick and it's not like that bad in my opinion, but it is like, you're just like, oh, why did you do that? Do you know what I mean? Then we had Dirty Savage Player by Lena Hart. This was a 4-star for me. This is an interconnected like standalone series, so I will be going back to read the first one, and I will read the rest of them when they come out. So this follows Ryan and Pippa, who are step siblings, and they hate each other, literally hate each other, but there is some forced proximity because Pippa needs somewhere to stay, and Ryan has like this big massive penthouse, so she ends up staying with him, and they have just like so much banter. There's so much chemistry there as well, like undeniable chemistry. Pippa is like a journalist or like columnist type thing, and she's going to write the 12 days of Christmas, and she obviously has to go on 12 dates obviously, and they end up being douchebags, and he's like, I'm going to help you go out with these dates. But obviously as that happens, the lines blur, he gets a little bit jealous, and things sort of go from there. And they did meet when they were like 14, and they both really liked each other, so like they were like not loved each other, but like that's the thing, like, and then obviously turn into hate. So it's not like they grew up together and saw each other as like brother and sister. But obviously if you don't like step sibling romance, then obviously I would say skip, but the banter in this is top tier. Then we have The Perfect Christmas by Cleo Evans. Now this was only a 2.75, I would say. This is a smutty novella, so where the main couple is like a couple, obviously they've gone on like a week's getaway like to this little cabin. They end up getting like a very snowstorm. Day 3, like the husband has not kissed her at all. She's very like horny, she wants something. Then these two lumberjacks end up coming along, and the husband's like, yeah, you can stay here, and she's like, what the fuck, like this is meant to be our getaway, you've not touched me or anything. He's like, no, would you rather them die? She's like, okay, whatever. And they decide she needs it, we're gonna give it to her, her husband ain't gonna. So it's like a why choose kind of situation. I did enjoy this, but I think I probably should have picked it up at a different time. I don't think I was in the mood for something like this, but if you're in the mood for like a smutty novella, then I would say that. Also, a lot of the reviews were like, oh, I DNF because I didn't realise that this was going to be like, it was just weird, why would she just go with these two lumberjacks? But as you read the book, it does make sense. So if you're thinking that, you need to finish the book to be able to understand what's actually going on. Then we had God of Ruin by Rena Kent. So this is the 4th book, yeah, the 4th book in the Legacy of God series. This was 4-star. All of the books have been 4 to 4.5 stars for me. This is Landon and Mia's story. And basically Mia ends up getting on Landon's radar because she wants like a little bit of revenge. Sorry, my friend just texted me saying she just got a Kindle for Christmas. She said, yo bitch, how do we connect on Goodreads? I was so fucking like, this is literally my conversations with my friends. She's gonna have to wait because I'm filming a video. Anyway, yeah, so Mia gets on Landon's radar. Now Mia is a mute, so she doesn't speak. She used to speak, but for the past, I think it was since she was 8, so like for the past like 10 years or something, she doesn't speak because there was obviously like a traumatic event. You don't know what the traumatic event is until like very late into the book, but you know that something's obviously gone on because of the way she is and the way she speaks about her past. She can hear and everything, but she is, she's on Instagram as well, she does like sign language and everything like that. Landon is, how do I put this, like a psychopath kind of. He doesn't have any feelings. He's very much like learned all of his like social things, but he's a very like charmer. He knows how to charm people. I loved getting into Landon's head and learning like the way that he thinks, because the way that he thinks is very, very different, obviously, like a normal person, if you will, or like the way that we think as people with like empathy and feelings and stuff like that. Not to say that he's not normal, but he is classed as neurodivergent, and the way his brain works is very differently, and it's very, very intriguing. It's very interesting to get into his head and actually see how he thinks and why he thinks the way he does. And I think Mia might be my favourite Legacy of Gods FMC. Like, she's a badass. Obviously we still got Ava to go, but she's a fucking badass. And Landon is so cute. Like, he learns how to cook for her, learns how to cook her favourite meals, learns how to take care of plants for her, learns sign language for her. He's so cute, guys. And we had Sealed with Deception by Marley Cross. This was an arc, it was a DNF. This is like a secret society, werewolfy, like werewolf vampire, very much like paranormal type thing. It was YSUs as well. I just wasn't vibing with the writing, so which is why I did not continue. But then we got into, this was actually, I read this a couple of days after Christmas. We got into the holiday era. Oh, I've just stabbed that with my finger, that really hurt. This was 5-star, guys. I love this. This follows Nolan, who is an A Ghost of Christmas Past, because he's not the Ghost of Christmas Past, and Harriet, who is our FMC, and basically he's tasked like every year to go to these bad people and help them change their ways. If you've seen A Christmas Carol, you know. And he gets assigned to Harriet, who is a very good person. She doesn't really do anything wrong. She's a very people pleaser. She thinks of this mistake. He's like, no, I've seen too many bad people. Like, I know it's a mistake. They go into like her past memories to find out why she's like done this and how she needs to change her ways, and it goes from there. And this man, BK Borison writes men that are like down bad for their women, guys. And I did really feel for Harry too, because some of her circumstances did hit a little bit close to home, so I was just like, oh, I really relate to her. This book had me sobbing. I was literally sobbing my eyes out, like when I tell you that. And my partner was next to me and he was looking at me like, are you okay? And I'm like, yeah, it's just so fucking sad. But like, I mean, obviously it's a romance, it's happy ever after, but I was just literally like sobbing for the characters. Like, I just feel so much, guys, okay? Sue me. And then we had Collie by Indy Valentine. This was another arc. This was 5 stars. This was a really unexpected 5 stars. As well as Collie and Easton. So Collie is our FMC. This is a duet like thing. So the Meadow Sisters. So the first book follows her sister Capri, and this book follows Collie, who is sort of like at a pass, I would say, in life. And then we've got Easton, who is our runaway groom. Ends up meeting Collie, invites her onto like this 2-week getaway to like this campsite type thing, and they're in a camp van, so it's very like forced proximity. Collie is unapologetically herself. Like, she is very out there, she's very outspoken, she knows what she wants and she's not afraid to ask for it. And it was a breath of fresh air. She's very like extroverted. And can we just appreciate the cover? Like, these 2 specimens are fine as book. Honestly, you'll feel all the feels in this and be sobbing your little heart out. These are just 2 souls that find each other and just help each other heal in the best way. And Easton has that filthy mouth, guys. And then I tried to do It's Beginning to Look a Lot Like Christmas by Hayley Dunlop. This was actually my in-person book club book of the month, and I waited until like the end of December to try and start it, because my book club was on like the 5th of Jan, so I had like a little bit of time after Christmas to read it. And everyone in the book club was like, either they forced themselves to finish it and they was like, it was okay, or they didn't enjoy it, or a lot of people didn't finish it because they were like, the writing is just not the best in their opinion. And I tried to read it and I just really couldn't gel with it. I couldn't gel with the female character, and so I did DNF it. It's, from the cover and how it's depicted, it's very like a cutesy, like vibed Christmas book, but it is like a very grief-stricken story from there. So I think it should have been marketed a little bit differently. Then we had another holiday book. So we had Holiday Ever After by Hannah Grace. So this is the author that wrote like Icebreaker and stuff like that. This was a 3.75 stars. And I know, like, oh, why didn't you just give it 4 star or 3.5? It wasn't quite a 4 star. I feel like it was a little bit more than a 3.5, so that's why I got a 3.75. I did the audiobook for this because Teddy Hampton thing, so I bought it on Audible. The only thing is it's not duet, it's like dual narration. So in his chapters he does her part and all the female voices, and then in her chapters she does all the male voices as well, which I just really don't like, especially when you get like a spicy scene. It just gives me the ick. But I did really enjoy the story of this though. This was actually really cute, and the way Jack kept calling her baby just had me giggling and kicking my feet. But this follows Jack and Clara. Now Clara is the daughter of, like, her dad owns this big toy company, who this town have felt like they have ripped off one of their products, the town's products, like their toys, and she has to go there and basically fix it. And he hates everything that her family stand for, and sort of like has painted her with the same brush, but all she wants to do is sort of like help out, and it goes from there. It's a very, very cute cozy read. It's not mega long, it is like a little bit long for what it is, but it is like a really cute cozy read. But if you was looking for like a Christmas thing, I would read Good Spirits over that, but if you haven't already read that, maybe save this one for next year. Then we had So Wrong by Abby Millsaps, which is part of the Boys of South Chapel series, which is a 4-book series of what I choose. Now I think they release as like an omnibus thing, so I got like an arc of the first 4 books. Well, there's only 4 books, sorry, all 4 books, and I started reading this. I love what I choose. I love Abby Millsaps. I think she writes incredible what I chooses, and I'm just, yeah, obsessed. She does write a little bit of like Taboo as well. So one of the MMCs is her stepbrother, or when they got together, he wasn't her stepbrother, but then became her stepbrother, his best friend. And then we have a English MMC, and then there is another MMC who we haven't actually met yet, and this follows their story basically. And it is it's like really sad, but it's also like, you know that you're gonna get the happy ever after as well, and it's just like a little bit heartbreaking. So I read the first book, and then I read the second book, So Real, okay, and I'm about to start the 3rd book today, and I will go straight on to the 4th book probably. I did finish this one, like this is New Year's Day that I'm filming this. I did finish that second one at like 1 AM technically on New Year's Day, so it is like the first book of 2026, sorry. But for some reason my Goodreads is telling me it's December. I don't know if it's just because I did it late at night. I think I'm going to change that though, because I technically did read it today. So I finished it in 2026, so that's going to count towards my 2026 thingy. Do you know what I mean? Does that make sense? Like, they're trying to take it from my New Year TBR rather than my thing, because it didn't count on my like yearly read. Does that make sense? I'm not going to count that anyway. So I only read the first one technically, and then the next one will be next month's wrap up. Well, it'll be with the other 2, but you know what I mean. But anyway, that is all the books that I read. That is a lot of books, guys. Like, this is probably my longest. I've been filming for like 52 minutes now. But that's all the books I read this month. I feel like I had a very mixed reading month, but I did think I had a very good reading month too. Obviously, I got a little bit of time off over Christmas, which is why I fitted in like a few more books towards the end of the month rather than the start of the month was quite slow. And yeah, I've still got a couple more days off, which is why I'm going to read the next 2 books of that series and hopefully finish those before the end of the week. But thank you guys so much for watching. If you've read any of these, let me know. Are you going to add any to your TBR? I would say if you are going to add one and you want a romance, definitely add Collie, because I love that one, and obviously Good Spirits, but obviously the Christmas series is over. But I did read it after Christmas and I still really, really had a good time, so take with that what you will. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.